Hello, everyone. I am Geeta Nadkarni. I am the founder of Baby Got Booked, our do-it-yourself PR program, and Impact with Influence, which is our elite level program that we've designed to help course creators, coaches, and consultants do three main things. One is to clean up their messaging so that they're selling the right thing. They're selling the thing that's of deepest value, the deepest layer of what it is they do. Then they charge a premium so you can immediately double, triple, quadruple your prices and actually get paid, even if you're struggling at your current low price point. True story. And finally, hack into other people's audiences using uncommon PR techniques, which we walk you through step by step so that you can build exposure and brand awareness and credibility and partnerships all at the same time with one task on your to-do list. How does that sound? And today we're celebrating. And I would like to invite Michelle Mercurio, who's one of our longtime clients. So she's a member of Impact with Influence, and she's in our Continuity Beta Mastermind program, which is Impact Mastery. And today Michelle and I are celebrating. Woohoo!
We are, yes.
Okay, so
absolutely.
So first tell me what we're celebrating, and then I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell them what it is you do.
Okay, perfect. So today we're celebrating a $16,000 day. So it's amazing. And it started with a little dance party in the kitchen and ended with a bunch of sales. So it's perfect. And it's not even noon yet. Oh, it might just be a little bit earlier. So we are celebrating the $16,000 day and all of the great energy that I have with my clients.
There you go. So Michelle, tell us what it is you do.
So Michelle Mercurio, as you said, I am a brand catalyst and coach, and I help transformative entrepreneurs like coaches and advisors and people who are consultants in that transformative services space, help them get paid more to be more them. And that means that I reconcile kind of their dual personas of home life and work life. I help them get really clear on what it is that they do. And then I do the words. I help them write the right messages and embody what it is that they do so that they can go out and help others live their best lives.
Which is fantastic. And I've seen some of the testimonials that your clients have written for you. And that's what makes me so excited to be the amplifier that's taking you out and your work out into the world. So let's rewind back to when you first found me. Do you remember how you found me?
So I actually have no clue how I got on your email list, okay? But I got on your email list and I read an email and I immediately thought, I think this is my soul sister from another mister, because like the way you speak and the way you talk definitely spoke to me, and it's how I talk to my clients as well. So you sent out an email and I just knew that we had to work together.
So you hopped on a call. Now, what were the specifics of the pains that brought you to me? So you got on a call and you had certain problems that you were like, if we could fix these problems, my life's going to get significantly better. So what were those problems?
Absolutely. So I think the primary problem that I came with is trading hours for dollars, right? I have a very, referral-based business. All of my clients that I was working with came to me via referral. I had really not done any marketing of myself, even though I was doing it for my clients. And I wanted to go to my next level and be able to not necessarily just have to trade all of the hours that I had for client work. I didn't want to write proposals over and over again. I didn't want to have to bid and pitch different types of work. I wanted the right people to come to me. But then I also didn't realize until we had our call that there was a lot of stuck that I had in my own life in what it is that I do, and am I the right person to be offering some of these services to my clients?
And without putting too fine a point on it, one of the things that we discovered very early on is that you were dang underpriced, like
absolutely
way underpriced. It was kind of shocking, and you knew it.
I did.
You knew it.
Even in our call, in our first call, you said, where would you like to level up your money? And I was still underpriced on that call. And then I entered the program, and you asked me what I was going to sell my program for, and I was still underpriced. And then I leveled that up again. And I have consistently leveled it up every single time I've offered it.
Hence the $16,000 day. I know. Today. And what do you think? So there are so many threads that I want to pull here, but the very first thing, let's go theme by theme. So let's talk about the dollars for hours thing. What was the piece that kept you stuck? You knew you wanted to break out of dollars for hours, and that's a very common thing that we see with our clients, right? Is they're phenomenal at what they do, but they've hit a ceiling. They just, even if they were more successful, even if they did get more clients in, they could not take on very much more because they'd burn themselves out. And that's, I think, where you were at. Why were you stuck there? Is it because you couldn't imagine the design of what the option might be?
I had no clue what to do, right? I've never done anything where I have traded out, my services and offered them in a different way. So it was truly a not knowing thing. I didn't know what to do next.
Got it. So you were open to this notion. I think that's really the energy that brought you to the call, is that you were just like, I know I don't want this, but I just can't quite conceive. It's like a shadow. I know it's there. Other people are doing it.
Right.
But what is it? And that was the energy that I sensed when you and I first connected on that epiphany session. And I was like, oh, well, what about this? Remember that?
And I do, because I didn't even have any clue what you were going to offer me. I just knew we were going to work together.
Right. And we talked about you designing a program that would be more group. That's the unhooking, right? Where it's just like, no longer are you doing just one-on-one work. There is a hybrid opportunity there where you deeply customize. And that's one of the biggest objections, and I know that was an objection for you too, is like, so much of what you do is magic, so much of what you do is intuitive, so much of what you do comes from this deep gut place that honestly there's a part of you that doesn't even freaking know how you do it. Yes.
Absolutely, because that's what my clients keep telling me is, I can't imagine not working with you after they work with me. And I know if I show up and people see who I am and what it is that I do, that immediately it becomes a yes. But I didn't know how to get to those people too. And I didn't just want to be indebted to referrals. Not that they've ever stopped coming, because they haven't, but I did have a little bit of a fear that they might.
Right. And you also don't want to base your entire business model on just referrals if you didn't then build a system specifically around referrals. And this was just organic referrals. There was no systematization to it. And that then leads to a roller coaster, right? It might work, it might not work. You have no idea what the parameters are. You have no control over the parameters either. But you said something that I thought was really, I hope everybody's hearing this. You said, I knew that if I showed up as who I am, that was the piece that I felt was missing. You were doing it, but you were playing at a lower level than what I actually heard behind your words. And I was like, we need to pull that Michelle out, because your clients are waiting for you. People at that way higher level, way higher price point, deeper resonance, deeper transformation, those people are hungry for you. They're waiting for you. They're literally like tapping their feet and being like, when is Michelle going to show up? And there you are in the room kind of being like, hey, I'm over here. But they don't recognize you because you weren't showing up as all of you.
Right. And that is exactly what they want me to do for them.
And that irony is 100% of the calls that I do have this element. It is no coincidence. It is nothing to be ashamed of. It is just so normal. It's like being an open heart surgeon. You can be the best open heart surgeon in the world, but if you need open heart surgery, there ain't no chance in the world that you can do that for yourself. It just doesn't work that way. You're too close to it. You have no perspective. You need that emotional distance. When I do my own, you know this, when I do my own messaging, I have a coach, even though I'm really dang good at it. It's like, that's just how it is. So,
and obviously, so do I.
Yes, exactly. So, okay, so we invited you into the program because I was like, oh my God, Michelle, I created this program for people like you. The very first thing we worked on was that deep mindset piece. And we talked about, there was fear of success, there was a little bit of lack of worthiness, there was overwhelm, there was self-doubt, there was fear of rejection, there was just, and we all have these are fundamental core human energies, if you will. And part of our job as your coach is to help shift them and give you the tools to consistently shift them, to surface them, to experience them, to take the gift that they are meant to give you and to shift them. So what was that process like for you?
So that was actually worse, I think, for me than, and I say worse, but it was the best, right? It was actually worse for me than doing the actual work, right? Mm-hmm. Because when you are faced with the things that have kept you stuck or your fundamental flaws that you viewed as your flaws your whole life, and those things start coming out, that is a lot of hard work.
And it's scary as shit, hey?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's really
But
rough.
It was also a beautiful process, right? So by being able to bring that to the surface and handling that pretty much once and for all, right? So it's not like one and done, but it's like, oh, I can invite that back in at any time. And then
the angst around it is lessened, so you're able to face it more often. It's kind of like doing push-ups. At the beginning, you fall on your face, you feel like crap, and you're like, oh my god, this is never going to work. And then as you build some strength, you don't dread starting the push-ups because you're like, I know I'm going to do this. Maybe not as many as I would like, but definitely some. But you brought up something really beautiful, which is a lot of us, women especially, high achieving women particularly, there's where we have internalized the process of blame. We have internalized a heck of a lot of shame, and we have been taught or have picked up along the way this idea that we're alone, that no one really truly gets us, and that if we were to show up in all our craziness, ambition, drive, passion, but also softness and vulnerability and all the messy oogie stuff, both and, not just either or, then bad things will happen. There is really that fear. I've gone through it myself, which is exactly why we created the program the way that we created it. And it is so important to go through the peeling back of those layers, the taking off of that armor with somebody with you who can hold you when you fall apart. Because I don't know anybody in the program who made the kind of up level you did without falling apart first.
Or at least several times.
And several times. I wasn't going to go there, but yeah, exactly. It's a constant, like every time you're about to break through, there is a bit of a breakdown, and that allows the puzzle pieces to kind of fall apart so that they can be put together in a new formation. And that's what takes you to that next, right?
I'm glad you brought that up, because last week you and I had a call about this, and I was feeling nervous about selling a client for the third time on something, even though we had achieved every single goal that he wanted to achieve, and he had new goals. And so I said, do I charge him this new price? And you said, absolutely, you charge him this new price. And until yesterday, I was sitting with this and I was thinking about some of the things that you taught me and some of the mindset things that you specifically said last week. And I thought about that this morning, and when I made him the offer, I didn't offer him at the price you and I discussed. I actually went up.
There you go. And was it difficult?
No, it was effortless, and he basically begged to write the check.
Yeah. And that's the difference between having the tactics and the right mindset and the right energy, because what you did is really powerful for him, for you and for him. What you did was you showed up with openness and with confidence and with clarity, which gave him the ability to feel held by you. It gave him the ability to feel confident in the writing of the check, because he's like, oh my God, this is such a no-brainer. I don't have to take on the angst of, is this the right decision? Like, she's not sure, therefore should I not be sure? You know what I mean? Like, and all of that angsty stuff. And I mean, yesterday we talked about this the day before this whole thing happened, right? And you were like, I'm really nervous. I know and there's no shoulds in our program. There's no shoulds. No. You're nervous? It's allowed. It's welcomed.
If I had shown up with the exact same script, but I didn't believe it, it would have gone completely differently. The other thing that I do want to say, though, you mentioned kind of that mindset plus the tactics. I now know how to better listen to my clients to make sure that I can help them with what it is that they are asking for. I always did a pretty good job at that before. But there were things that I would miss, right? It all happens to all of us. And I'm sure there's still things that we miss, right? And that's perfectly okay. Yeah. But I listen differently now on how I can serve. And today when I took that call with him, I said right before I got on that phone call, I said, you know what? If it's not right, I'm going to know it, and I'm not going to offer him to work with me. And I'm going to tell him exactly what he needs to do because it's not right for him and I to work together, and I will refer him somewhere else. And, and then I heard all these things and I said, oh, that's us. Yes, absolutely. We can do this.
And that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
And that was and I love that. And that had everything to do with your clarity. That had everything to do with you owning your power. Because when you really feel powerful, that's when you can actually give yourself permission to say no when it's time to say no. Without that power, you'll never have the confidence to say no. You're always going to be like, I need to take this on because I don't have any more,
Because I don't have a pipeline. I don't have a list.
Exactly.
I don't have the money. I don't have this. And it doesn't matter, because I think what your system really truly did is help me figure out that I don't have to take the things that I don't ever want to take, which was part of why I started my own business anyway. And I had never had to work with a client I never wanted to work with, but then I could see, oh my gosh, what if that actually happens at some point and I have to take somebody on? Your system basically makes it so I never have to take anybody on that I don't fully love and want to work with.
Because you have a steady stream of clients who are the perfect fit for you. And if they weren't the perfect fit for you, you have a process that you've learned that is duplicatable and predictable and not fly by the seat of your pants and hope it works. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And you don't really know why. It's duplicatable. It's trainable. Like you could actually train somebody else on how to do this. In which case you can then, you can ascend within your company, go to a little higher, where what I'm doing in my company now is going to a higher level. And then some of the selling, some of the, fulfillment, whatever, you have the cash flow to bring people on, you're able to create that abundance for everybody else.
Absolutely.
What were the most transformative pieces of working together for you?
I would say I'm going to go back to the mindset. I think that is really having a practice now where, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even though I thought that I meditated, I resisted it very much. I resisted the mindset piece, and I resisted the fact that even though I knew it worked, I didn't do it. So having a habit that is part of my life now, that is hugely impactful. I wake up in the morning and I do my affirmations, and they stay very consistent, and then they change when they need to change. And then every evening, we I've told you this before, it's like you sleep with your therapist, right? So or your hypnotherapist. So I fall asleep to some of the messaging that the program created, and also working one-on-one with David.
Right. And for those who don't know, David is our mindset coach. He's our staff mindset coach. So he, when we first start with a client, we know that whatever blocks you bring to the table, so Michelle's blocks will be different from my blocks, will be different from your blocks. And so we need to know, okay, you've picked up a bunch of stories that are holding you back. You've picked up a bunch of limiting beliefs, whether you know it or not. And some of these beliefs are so hidden, you don't even realize you believe this stuff. Been guilty of that myself for sure. And then what David does is he'll work with you one-on-one to surface those beliefs, and then have you, in some cases it's so instant, and I don't know if you have an example, bless you, I don't know if you have an example of that, but in some cases, you'll just be like, hey, wait a minute, I don't believe that money is the root of all evil, or whatever crap bubbles to the surface, even though some caregiver or authority figure or someone you deeply love and respect in your life believes that or believed that, and you just internalize that belief. Sometimes it's layers where it's like, a fundamental fear of rejection. That's something that as a public figure now, that's something that I struggle with that. And it's funny because I come across as wildly confident, and to some extent I am. That's why I was given the public figureness. Like it's chicken and egg. However, each up level, each time I have to show up, more vulnerable, more me, the closer I get to my essence, the more terrified I am that I will be hurt, that I will be rejected, that people will be like, ew, that's who you are, like, turn away, and having a process and having an actual coach in that space with you who is separate from you, who has that perspective and who comes from a place of deep spirituality rather than just mindset coaching. Like, I don't know if you've ever worked with or like done mindset coaching before, but the way we do it, tell me how it's different. Tell me how it's different for you. For you.
It is supportive and non-judgmental, and it's consistent.
Yes.
Right? It's not just fly by the seat of your pants. So that's, I think, how it's different.
And what I like to think also is that I've been coached. I've done mindset, like I've been on the receiving end of mindset coaching in my own journey as an entrepreneur. And what I found that was difficult about a lot of mindset coaching was, how to put this? In a sense, it's very masculine. It's very repressive. Some things are allowed and some things are just, you affirm your way away from them. And I don't believe in that, because that shit backfires every single time. It may not backfire in the immediate term. In fact, you might feel like you're getting results, but you've just gone and pushed it under the surface, and now you're using a whole bunch of energy keeping it under the surface that's not available to you to build your business, etc., or to build your life, because those two things are not separate. Anyway, long story short, one of the rules we have in our program with the kind of coaching that we do is that everything is allowed. All of you is not just allowed, but it is welcomed. So when you have fear, it's a good thing. You bring it out. There's a way for you to be with that fear without buying into the fear, and learning how to toggle and have that flexibility. Think about how that affects, like Michelle, like this is you mentioned the listening, right?
Right.
That ability to listen deeply to your clients, that's where it comes from. The ability to be with somebody in their despair, in their stuckness, in their fear, to really be with them and embody that without buying it, to then have the strength to pull them out. Because you cannot pull them to you if you're not able to be with them. Does that make sense?
I think that is completely correct, because I think I can listen differently now, because I'm not trying to find a solution and wondering, oh, do I even have a solution? I don't even think about that anymore. Now I think there's no need to show up with all the answers. And it's okay to listen very deeply and then not have what people are saying kind of affect me.
Yes.
And my own fears. And I think that is definitely how listening is different now.
And you don't judge yourself as much, right? Because the need to have all the answers also is like, oh, I'm an imposter. Oh my God, what if I don't? Like, all of that is just, whew.
Yes.
Now that energy is available to actually come up with a solution.
Yeah, and it's improved my life too. It's completely, changed my life on a daily basis.
How so?
Well, so I was always the girl that said that I hate yoga. You know me, Geeta. I'm a boxer. I box. And not like little girly kickboxing. No, I can. I'm kidding. It's not girly. That's a terrible thing.
I know what you meant. It's not like a little cute class. Yeah, it's the real deal.
No, so I've always resisted yoga, because yoga is actually really hard, because it's something that is, it looks like it should be easy, but it's not. So I've always said I hated yoga. And recently I turned a corner on my yoga even, and just being able to sit and be impatient with what my body can and cannot do is a life-changing difference that comes from mindset. It didn't come from anything else. It didn't come from pushing harder and doing more yoga classes. And exactly what you were saying, it comes from that allowance space and that non-judgmental space, which is now more me because I have shifted my mindset.
I love that, because one of the biggest outcomes that I know I want to create with every single client that we take on is I want to get you guys out of hustle. There's a time and place for hustle. There's a time and place for action. There's a time and place to go after the things that you want. However, it's less than you think. And the need to control, the need to chase, the need to possess, and all of that jazz, I feel like it limits you. There's only so much you personally can imagine and take on. Whereas if you're able to allow, and it's exactly what you were talking about, right? You're able to be with the impatience, with the impermanence, the impatience, the not knowing, the fear, all of the negative, not allowed pieces of you, the previously censored pieces of you. You're able to hold so much more in your consciousness. That to me is what abundance truly is, because the bigger you are and the bigger your capacity to hold in your consciousness a wider reality, a more diverse reality, the more you can have. The more money comes to you, the more people come to you. Who do you want to be with? Do you want to be with somebody who's super angsty and driven and has like major like revenue goals and outcomes and whatnot that they need? Or do you want to work with or hang out with somebody who is so comfortable in their own skin and so able to celebrate themselves for who they fully are, that you have permission to do the same? Have one
Absolutely.
too,
Yes.
Yes.
And then it's also becomes, I work with the people I want to hang out with.
Yes.
Right. And I can see where they are struggling on a deeper level now, because I've already gone through some of those things on my own. And now it is very evident to me how, especially we as women, apologize for ourselves all the time. Even when we're making clarifying statements, we're like, I'm not apologizing for myself. I'm this, I'm that, and it's because of, I'm like, stop that. It's because of, you don't have to clarify why you are doing certain things and apologize for it. I can hear these things very differently now because I have sat in some angst, and I have sat in some angst.
I have sat there with you.
I know you have. And I think that that's where, when you truly keep going deeper and deeper on that mindset component, it becomes more of how my business is becoming more and more successful. And it's not a spreadsheet, and it's not the notes, and it's not the list of to-dos. It's truly, I meditate before I do anything in the morning, and I meditate last thing at night. And that has changed my life. The messaging for my business has changed my life too. Don't get me wrong. But that mindset piece has been.
And I love the way that you're bringing that out, because we started this whole thing with a revenue piece, because let's face it, we're all business owners here. We can all just come right out and say it. We want to fucking make money. That's normal. That's totally fine. However, there's no point making all the money in the universe if deep down you feel empty and hollow and feel like you're on this hamster wheel where at any minute it can be taken away from you. Trust me, when you build your business from that place, it will be taken away from you. You will create that situation, not because you're lacking in any way, but because your soul wants you to go through the experience of learning to trust yourself. Pardon the pounding. We have some construction work going on upstairs. Anyhow, but all this to say that one of the things that I'm so jazzed about is that, like, as you know, Michelle, we have both the tactical aspects, the actual step-by-step, build this. Here's how the messaging works. Our coaches work with you. And, it was so much fun working with you because you're a messaging coach too. We were you for you, like what you do for your clients, we did. I know, right? Like that was so much fun.
I work with messaging and marketing clients as well, because I firmly believe the people who need the most messaging are messaging folks, right?
Always.
Like that's exactly, it's our gift to the universe, and then when we try to give that gift to ourselves, no, we need
it's like
somebody
cake
else.
Smash. I know. It's just, yeah.
It's frustrating to say, be at that space where you're thinking, I know exactly what it is that I say and I can do, and I do this for everybody else. Why can't I do it for myself? I don't think anybody should do their own messaging.
No.
You are so into, it doesn't matter if you have a messaging business or not, right? You're so into what it is that and I know you probably have the exact same thing, where you have clients that come to you and they have a ton of content. And their content is like, you could write 6 novels out of this.
Totally.
That is not clear at all. So you do a lot of that clarity work, and you do help us. I did the exact same thing that my clients do to me, and they come and like, oh, I've got all this content. And I did the exact same thing to you. It's like, I've got like 10 story arcs and I've got all of this information, and you took it and said, you're not even going to do that. Like, get help when you need help.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was like, you just picked the long road, the long, painful, all the work, hustle road. And I was like, I got a shortcut and you're going to love it. And it requires you to give yourself more permission to just show up as who you are and literally cross all this shit off your to-do list without doing it.
Right.
And how did that work for you?
I had a $16,000 day today. I mean, how do you think that worked for me? And it's still early.
I know. And that's true. And you have a bunch of calls booked this week. So that's really fun. And I know we've been talking for a while now, so I'm going to let you go real soon. What would you say to someone who is considering either getting on an epiphany session or signing up to coach with us? Especially if you're a woman, because we
do it now, because not only are you going to feel better about your business, you're just going to feel better about your life. And then you also have a whole new group of people that you are really impressed to be around. And those are the type of people that you want to share your space with. You don't want to, if you're currently not sharing your space with women and men. I mean, you serve both.
Agreed. That's true.
There's a lot of amazing people that I have met, even just through your program, and these are the type of people I want to surround myself with.
I love that you brought that up, and that's such a great note to end this on, because on my journey as an entrepreneur, it has been a real struggle for me as you up level, as you go deeper and deeper into the process, as you change, as you peel back the layers of your own being and evolve your consciousness, a lot of people fall away. A lot of the old ways fall away, and with the ways, the people fall away. And then on top of everything, during that process, I went and had 2 kids. So my non-mommy friends fell away. So it was like all of a sudden I was like Geeta Nadkarni party of one. And it was really, seriously, and it did not feel like a party at all, let me say.
I mean, I would still think it was a party to me. I still like being by myself, and I know you do too, because we're pretty awesome. But I understand that same feeling that you want to be surrounded by the people who
light you
inspiring.
Up. Yeah.
You can inspire, and who inspire you. It becomes a circle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a huge part of why I created Impact, a huge part of the posse that I'm building, is to create that space where you don't have to put on pants, you don't have to hop on a flight, you don't have to go to some freaking conference, although we will have all those things coming eventually. And those are great and those are fun, but there should be somewhere that you can go, a place that you can call home, where people are all just as nutty and driven and excited about some of these like crazy technical metrics and also this like spiritual woo-woo stuff. Mm-hmm. And I find it difficult to find people who do both those things together and are as jazzed by each of those pieces. So I was like, dang it, I'm going to go build that posse myself. And so thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for being a member of that posse. It is such a joy to work with you. For
being a member of my posse and bringing me into yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. If you watching this would like to get on an epiphany session with me, if you would like to explore how you can take your business to the next level and you can add a whole bunch of zeros, just like Michelle did, to your bottom line by clearing up your mindset in one day, exactly, right? By clearing up your mindset, by clearing up your messaging so that you're truly communicating the value of what it is you do and not leaving it up to clients and prospects to have to guess at it. If you want to learn how to sell at a premium price, if you want to learn how to design a program that allows you to unhook dollars for hours and actually create even bigger transformations in a group setting than you could in a one-on-one. Yes, it's possible. And then if you want to learn how to use PR tactics that literally have won Guinness World Records, because my co-coach on this side of the program owns a Guinness World Record for the most amount of PR done, media gotten in a 24-hour period. So, and we have a full media list and all of that included in our program. So if all of these different pieces put together, this is what's going to take you to the next level in less than 8 weeks. If you're interested in exploring how this would work for you, then find the link that's somewhere around this video or type in impactwithinfluence.com/epiphany. It's probably up on your screen. And just let's talk, right? impactwithinfluence.com/epiphany, and we will talk. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us, Michelle. It is such a pleasure. Mwah. And we'll talk soon.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.